Thank you, everybody, for being here. This is Black Friday, where these opinions are not for sale. My name is Christian. We got Chris, and we got Omar.
Good to
Uh,
be back.
Yeah.
Pardon the interruption, y'all. Sorry about that. Life has picked up quite a bit, and we've been off trying to do bigger and better things. Not forsaking this by any means, but life caught up to us, and we just got a little busy. But we are here. We're happy to be back, and we've got some cool stuff planned for y'all.
Yeah, it's been a wild month. Glad to be back. Glad to kind of talk, kind of catch up on some events, give our opinions on it. Yeah, let's dive right into it.
Yeah. All right, Omar. What's the first thing you got for us today?
All right. Well, I got a lot for y'all today, but the first thing is the Texas heartbeat bill, the bill that bans abortions after 6 weeks, where the fetal heartbeat can be detected, but most women aren't pregnant. It has been reinstated by the Fifth Circuit Appeals Court. It was a ban was put on that law by Judge Pittman, who is an Obama appointee. He said this is an offensive deprivation of a constitutional right to an abortion. So he put a ban on it, and were brought back into the state. But now that has been stopped by the Fifth Circuit. So now a lot of babies' lives are being saved at this point. I'm very happy that this ban is in place again, but well, not the ban, but the bill is back in place again. What do y'all think about it?
I think it's a good thing. I am pro-life. I believe that people shouldn't be murdering their children. I kind of feel like it's kind of crazy that we have to always have a debate about this. But legally, my stance is that I think that the only way we'll get anything done is we leave it up to the states to do these things. And Texas did it. Every other state can do it right now if they wanted. And that's what, red states and states with a majority and Republicans, they need to be pushing bills like this to be able to save more children. That's the only way we're going to be able to actually, in my opinion, have an effective fight against wage the war against the unborn and things like that. We have to have these states start implementing laws similar to this, or else I think the fight on the federal level is not going to go anywhere anytime soon, unfortunately. So the states need to get on this now.
I think it's fantastic. It's time to save the babies. This is what we're called to do here, to protect the most vulnerable and the innocent here. That's what we're here to do. That's what I believe I'm here to do. And this is, I think it's just a stepping stone here in Texas. I think we need to have a ripple effect throughout the rest of the country. And I think if this keeps happening across states, the federal government and Supreme Court will probably have to address this. And if that's set, we could actually potentially have some binding precedent. I'm not holding my breath on it. I do think it's a possibility, though. I think we could get somewhere really, really good with this, really far. I think absolutely we should legislate this to the fullest extent. No ifs, ands, or buts. Save the babies. That's what I'm all about.
Well, one last tidbit on this. Remember the Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, the case coming out of Jackson, Mississippi, where I am currently at, is going to be heard on December 1st. We have a date in court now. It will be heard by the Supreme Court on December 1st. This has the potential to get rid of Roe v. Wade, but we believe it'll just undermine it so that the Texas heartbeat bill will not fully be challenged, and then the categorical bans to abortion, meaning let's just ban it altogether and send it up to the court so they can finally deal with it. We think that's going to happen, but it could fully overturn Roe v. Wade and send it back to the states. We don't know yet. We're not going to know that until June of next year. But we're cautiously optimistic. We've been praying about it. We've been out there on the grounds about it. I've had a couple of interviews with NPR. I just had one with BBC that was on camera. So watch out for your boy come in the next couple of months. I got more media coming out about it, so you'll be hearing me speak about it. But I'm excited. It could be historic. It could be an historic next few months.
I think it could be, but I also don't hold my breath with our current Supreme Court. When it comes down to it, honestly, the only person I really believe to do the right thing here is Clarence Thomas.
Our boy Clarence Thomas.
What about Alito? What about Alito?
Potential Alito, I'd put him as a strong second, but Amy Coney Barrett, Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch, I don't trust those guys worth nothing to go ahead and do anything right. Unfortunately, they've let us down here in the past with certain rulings that we believe to hold true here. And as far as Trump's appointees, they haven't always taken out the right too.
Don't count out Roberts just yet. He is. I know he's a swing vote now. He took over Anthony Kennedy's swing vote, but don't count him out just yet. There's still hope. He hasn't ruled yet.
I'm not holding my breath on Kennedy, I'm sorry, Roberts.
Yeah, I think
my breath on these guys.
holding your breath for this Supreme Court, you are going to be disappointed as a conservative. I don't think that we're going to get. I don't know. Like,
if they rule, I don't see binding precedent happening. Like, I don't see them setting something deep in stone saying, no, you can't kill a baby. They're just going to give some very narrow ruling that's going to get challenged again further down the road, and we're going to have to go redo this thing all again. I really think that's what they're going to do. So that's all I
That's what we think they're going to do too at Students for Life. And I'm not speaking for them, but the inside word in the organization is that, that's what we think. It's going to go back to the court again, but it's going to allow for more restrictions on abortion. But it does have the potential to get rid of Roe v. Wade. So it's whatever the court wants to do. Again, they haven't heard the case yet, and I'm praying for it now.
Yeah. I really hope this happens. Really do. I'm pulling for it. I'm pushing for it. I'm all about this, but it's on some people to do the right thing here. But again, I don't. Like, oh, do you expect the worst? I don't expect the worst, but I mean, as far as just like having the highest hopes for these people, I mean, sheesh.
We just have to realize that it's just not something that we can rely on. Same thing as when we hear of things happening in Congress. I don't rely on the GOP to do the right thing. It never happens. They continuously let us down. And that's the thing that people need to remember. Same thing with our Supreme Court. We really don't have a strong anyone in office, whether it's in obviously not the executive, but especially the judicial and the legislative branches. We don't have anyone strong.
And here's the thing, as we all talk about 2022, we're going to take back the Senate and the House. I say, oh, cool. What are we actually going to do? Like, what do I care? If we're going to go ahead and complain 2016 through 2018 and not do anything, if that's what we're really going to do. Like, what do I care about this? You're just going to have a bunch of people that want to sit on their hands and say, well, we're here and now we can't just do, what we set out to do with our agenda. We're just going to wait back and sit. And no. So, yeah. Oh, we're going to take back that. Cool. What does that entail? What's going to happen with that? Oh, you guys are going to push a heartbeat bill? No, you won't. Oh, okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
It'll all be for show. When you have opposite parties holding the legislative and the executive, anything that's passed is all for show to gear up for the next presidential election. That's what it's going to be. The only good thing about the Republicans taking back the House and taking back the Senate, which is highly likely if it was held today, it's highly likely it would happen. All that would happen is we won't get a radicalized agenda unless Biden does it by executive order, which the Supreme Court probably would strike down because they don't have the votes to put in to pack the court at that point. So that's the good parts about them taking over. But of course, the bad, it's all going to be for show. When we actually fully retake power again, are we really going to do what we set out to do?
Nope, not at all. And that's why so many people are fleeing the GOP, or if Trump would have made his own party or anything like that, and I'm not saying that's the party I'm endorsing or anything, there would have been 30 million, 40 million Republicans saying, peace, Republicans, I'm out, I'm going to the Trump party. Because no one's the majority of Republicans aren't Republicans because they love Republicans. They're like, I'm a Republican because the Democrats are so terrible and third party isn't an option. And that's something that I feel like Republicans don't realize all the time, and they won't vote that way. They need to start voting out these mediocre GOP candidates that are going to vote the way that Mitch McConnell wants them to, or Kevin McCarthy wants them to, and not actually take action and just sit there and be silent and not have a voice. Like, we need more ground shakers in Congress. That's what we need. We don't need these spineless, weak Republicans that we have, 400 of in Congress. Well, not that many, but however many we have. Probably around that. It's probably like 3 non-spineless ones in Congress.
I think the big thing here is that we can't be scared by these career politicians, especially in the GOP, who are saying that, oh, if I don't get reelected, we're going to have the Dems are going to take over, and we're going to say, so what? You didn't do anything. What do we care? Another thing is that we can find good, viable candidates. They're just scared, oh, if you replace me, they're dead. No, not necessarily. We can find a better candidate than you, run them in your district or in your Senate seat, and potentially have them win, and you're done. Okay, don't let them scare you saying that, oh, it's all over if I don't win. No. We can find somebody better than Lindsey Graham in South Carolina. I firmly believe we can find somebody better than Lindsey Graham in South Carolina. I'm not playing that game at all. We can find better. We deserve better. I'm not playing that game at all. I don't want to hear if we don't take this, then you're gonna sit on your hands for another 6 years. No, thank you. I'm all right.
Yeah, and not do anything. That's the thing. We just have to start playing the game. We need to start running these candidates. Republicans need to stop being. Republican voters also seem to be spineless. They don't want to take the risk and vote in a different way, or vote for someone who's running against them in the primary. But we'll see what happens in the next election.
Yeah. So jobs report September here. We're looking at the quote is that the economy created 194,000 jobs in September, the smallest gain since December 2020, and down from 366,000 jobs added in August. Missing expectations greatly. It's been labeled as the worst of the year, and labor shortages are getting worse. You might notice that some of the mainstream media news are saying, yeah, the unemployment rate's at 4.8%. Way to go, Biden. They killed it. They crushed it. But when you understand that how labor works in the economy, Charles Payton had a great tweet about this with a small analogy here. It says a ship crashes on a small island. 10 survivors share work duties, but 2 stop working in protest. What's the U3 for unemployment rate? It's 0%. Because people quit the labor pool, they're not counted as employed, but they still demand food, shelter, and coconuts/currency from others. And that's what we're seeing right now is that, the unemployment rate's so down. No, the labor participation rate is extremely down as well. People are not participating in the economy. They are taking their money from the government. They've been fired from forced mandates or lost their job from forced mandates or quit. And no, America is not back, Joe. I'm sorry, it's not back. Like you say it is. It's not. No, our unemployment, there's not people participating in the economy. People are still just out getting checks. So what are we going to do? And everybody's going to spend, this is a great thing. No, it's not. It's really not. The price of everything is still rising subtly. I'm really worried about how the meat market's going to be soon, because I think we might run out, and that's going to be scary as heck too if that happens.
We're having supply chain issues as well. There was the issue just a week ago of how many ships are waiting at port to be able to come in to deliver their goods because of a trucking shortage and supply chain shortages that are happening all over the country right now. I know that wasn't it the truckers union was trying to have deals talking about the vaccine mandates. They can't implement them. If they implement them, then our supply chain is going to crumble because there are going to be truckers who don't want to get the vaccine, and they need anyone they can get right now. They don't have the option to be like, okay, well, I guess when are we going to start nationalizing the trucking industry too? They have the National Guard working at hospitals in New York. Are we going to nationalize the trucking industry in our schools and everything else that's happening because we just don't have enough workers for it after these mandates? I mean, I know that it's a complicated issue and it's not just mandates that are the reason we don't have people working. A lot of factors are going into it. But I mean, we could potentially see one of the hardest economic times in our country's history very soon. The way that how much money they've printed in the last 16 months, I think it was like what was it, like 30% of the money in circulation in the last 16 months have been, or I'm sorry, in circulation now was printed in like the last 16 months. The inflation happening, they're raising the debt ceiling again. We could really see just massive economic downturn, and that could affect everybody. And it could really be hard because Americans are not used to that. That has not really happened. Yeah, there was 2008, but it wasn't like Great Depression bad, where people, didn't have food and like starved to death and like killed their kids. Like it could potentially get to that level because of just the way our country has managed the economy the last 30 years. It's been terrible, and I don't know how we're gonna fix it.
Yeah. One thing about the job numbers is you said, Christian, people have stopped looking for work. I read an article today that American workers are not going to go back to work unless they feel like they've been fully compensated, which that's a big problem in and of itself. But I mean, you got that problem. And did y'all see this past week, OPEC met, and I think they're raising prices on oil, which means gas prices are about to spike. They've already started spiking here, 20 cents. So now I'm paying $3 a gallon. Y'all are in states where I imagine gas is much, much higher than that.
I'm looking at like 340.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
What about you? I know yours is higher.
$3 or so. It's about what
really,
depending on where you're at in Miami, depending on where I'm at. But 340 in Detroit, my goodness,
it's like it's like 330. I just looked it up. So like I can find places that it's like 310, but around me and places, it looks like the average is like 315 to 330. Which I mean, yeah, if this continues to spike and prices continue to spike, this is, along with economic downturn, along with people not returning to the job market, along with small businesses failing and vaccine mandates being implemented, all of these factors can really end up with a massive, like, just economic drought. And I think that everyone needs to be prepared to be able to, take care of their family and not have to rely on the government or the supply chain. I think that's very important to realize. I mean, in the UK right now, they're having trucker shortage and gas shortages to the point where you have lines miles long of cars waiting to get gas. It looks like Cuba in the United Kingdom because of their trucker shortage. All it takes is the supply chain to fall out of order, and our society it falls apart. And we are a massive country that needs to ship goods all over the country constantly. So if the supply chain falls out of whack, you're going to see a lot of people have issues.
Yeah.
We're already out of whack for sure. But I mean, it's worse than what it is now. I mean, I don't want to imagine that. I don't want to imagine that. We already ruined the Keystone Pipeline with 11,000 jobs. The supply chain got absolutely screwed there. Now we're taking oil in trucks instead of through the pipeline, which actually would have been probably more fuel, economy efficient. You would talk about emissions and driving
cleaner. Gas would have went down. Gas would have stayed down. And Biden could have took credit for that if he wanted to. Well, he couldn't, but
he takes credit for everything, but even the bad stuff he does. I did that chocolatey chip ice cream. Like, that's all that man knows. I mean, I honestly think this, like, at first I thought he was an evil, like, actual, just terrible person. I am starting to think he's actually just like has dementia and doesn't know what's happening. They're just leading this man around. He like probably wearing a diaper, doesn't know what's going on. Like, somebody needs, like, I don't feel bad for him because, you know, terrible person, and he's probably going to be rotting in hell. But I think that he's just like does not know what's happening, and I don't know who's doing this to him.
I'm going to make a historical comparison. We're not even 1 year into this administration. What does this administration resemble to you right now? Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter had skyrocketing oil and gas prices.
Omar, none of us were alive for Jimmy Carter.
Yes, I remember the Carter presidency.
No,
we weren't even alive. Do you remember? I don't remember. I wasn't here.
I'm talking about reading in a history book, people. Well, there may be old people watching. Old, but reading his and watching documentaries, because I watch a lot of them, and in learning about Jimmy Carter's presidency, we're seeing the same thing. As a matter of fact, not too long ago, they took a picture, Biden and his wife, Dr. Biden, took a picture with President Carter and First Lady Rosalind Carter. Right? They took a picture together, and people were like, "Okay, basically, you're looking at the same couple at this point." And we're not even 1 year into this. So if we add on another hostage crisis, like the Iran hostage crisis, or another Middle East turmoil, situation. No, I'm talking about to the point where it's gonna be.
I think you can compare
like it was back then.
I think you can
have the worst.
Go ahead. I was gonna say I think you can compare Afghanistan to the hostage crisis for Carter, because it's just a terrible foreign policy and a mishandling of foreign policy to the highest degree. And I think Afghanistan was way worse, and it resulted in a lot of people dying. Friends of the United States, people who have worked with us, green card holders who are potentially, there are still some in Afghanistan that the federal government is denying any knowledge of. But I think you can compare the two, and I think Joe Biden's doing a bang up job.
Over 13 Americans died in Afghanistan, and you see people falling off a plane, and Joe Biden says, "Hey, that was 4 days ago." Oh, it doesn't matter anymore. People just fall on a plane. It doesn't matter because it was 4 days ago. And that's the state of our executive office, our presidency, what they care about. It's not the American people. Our absolute debacle in the Middle East it's a great reason why Biden's disapproval rating is through the roof. Not only that, but you have the economy and trade. It's not great. And foreign leaders are crunching our lunch. Absolutely. Since when did you ever see Trump get owned by Emmanuel Macron in France? No. And Joe Biden's absolutely getting wrecked by that, man. For what? We look weak. We look effeminate on a global scale. France is saying that we're too woke here in America, and they're like absolutely combating it now. That's what France said that about us.
And that's insane. We really need to. Yeah. I don't know. This country's so split. Like, it's hard to stay positive. It's hard to stay like, we're gonna win this back. Like, because now we're just so separated that it's like, no matter who wins in the next, it's gonna always turn to the extreme on both sides. That's who is going to become like the loudest in the room of a candidate is going to be whoever says the most extreme things. And so, are we going to get the most extreme Republican nominated in 24, or are we gonna get, if Joe Biden's still kicking, are we gonna get or if he isn't kicking and kicks the bucket, are we gonna get the most extreme Democrat? Like, so it's hard to stay positive and be like, we're gonna make a change, we're gonna make a difference here, because probably we'll just continue on at this pace that we're at, dividing the country more and more. This is why we just need to shrink the federal government, let states do what they want to do, and have liberal and Republican bastions all across the country. I feel like that would be a great little system.
So Biden's approval rating is at 38%, and his disapproval rating is at 53%, which is the worst score he's received since taking office in January. His net disapproval is nearly doubled since the last time that Quinnipiac conducted their poll, at 42% now to 50%. And so,
do you know the rating on the border?
Yeah, He's taken an L in double digits on everything but one key issue. He's definitely taken the L on the economy. He's taken the L on coronavirus. He's taken the L on commander-in-chief of the military. Extremely taken a big L from 58% disapproving to 37% approved. 54% disapproving of his taxes. 58% disapproving of his foreign policy. 67% disapproving of his immigration. And 67% disapproving of the situation at the Mexican border, which is kind of funny because he hasn't been to the Mexican border yet. The U.S.-Mexico border. He has yet to go. He has not.
Don't worry, he got Kamala on the job.
She went to El Paso.
She didn't go.
She went to El Paso. She didn't go to the RGV where it's all happening. She didn't go to Laredo. She didn't go down where in there.
All Republicans.
Down there.
They're Republicans down there. El Paso is like a Democratic island.
No, but El Paso isn't where the border crisis is occurring. While there are illegal crossings happening,
it's a Democratic island. It made her. It was supposed to make her look good or not look as bad.
Yeah, because there were at least 12 people there who were probably cheering her name, like, "Go Kamala, go lock up all of our minorities."
Yeah.
The only thing that he's still getting an approval rating on yes is that he cares about average Americans. Well, 49% say yes, 48% say no.
That's too divided. That's too divided.
That's where our country's at. We're too divided. How are we gonna bring our country back together? Like, I know it's a hot topic, and maybe we'll save this for another episode. But like, bringing our country back together is something that, if we don't come together as Americans, and I don't know, it's a very difficult question.
I feel bad saying, like, I don't know. I don't think I could say it. I'm gonna say it. I'll say it. We've had tragedy strike, over the last decade, 2 decades or so. It's unfortunate, but I really think that if something as horrific as a 9/11 or something of that magnitude happened again, I don't think we would see that same unity that we did over 20 years ago.
No, I don't think so either. I think you would have people claiming, like, same exact thing 9/11 happened. You would have people claiming, like, the loud minority would be claiming that it was because of white supremacy or because of colonialism or because of something along those lines. And they would be putting the blame on white people or America or that were evil. Or they wouldn't mourn. They would immediately take blame and put the blame on someone. So it's sad to say. Yeah, it's very sad to say that I don't think anything is going to make Americans really want to be in unity, stand together, and have, a country that's the best country for all.
I'm going to say this. It's a sign of the end times. That's all I'm going to say. We're the last country on the planet that provides any full religious liberty. Well, not we don't even do that, but we're the most religiously liberated country in the world right now. We can freely practice, quote unquote, any religion, but a lot of Americans are Christians, quote unquote. So, with us not becoming a unified country, all of that is about to drop. I can see it. I just say it's a sign of the end times. But that's me being a little bit religious there.
I mean, we always say, we're living in, but we just don't know when it's going to end and everything. We know that he's coming soon, Omar, but it's as far as when.
Y'all making me want to have to break out my Bible.
And people are like, "Oh, it's how could it?" And the worst thing people in these instances always say, "Man, it can't get worse than this." Man, don't say it. Don't you say it. Oh, it can't get worse than Joe Biden. Don't you say that. There are much worse in the wing, just waiting to go.
There are two vampires.
If you think about it, Joe Biden is just the moderate who's kind of going along with the left, but not even that extreme of the left. It's like just the progressive left, not even the extremely progressive left. Imagine if we had somebody in office who is extremely progressive. That is where we would have issues. Like if we had a Bernie Sanders or if we had, someone like that who wanted to push in these things, where Joe Biden's just like, no, what do you mean? I'm moderate. I'm not going to do that. Screw them. Like Joe Biden isn't going to actually do that.
But he ends up doing it anyway, begrudgingly. No, I want Biden to finish out his term. Why? Because I fear what Kamala would do. And then if Kamala dies, who would take over? Nancy Pelosi. I do not want these two vampire witches, because they're a mix of a vampire and a witch. I don't want these vampire witches becoming president or getting anywhere near that Oval Office. They're too close as it is right now. I'm not even going to go into it. Pray that Biden, all we can do is pray that Biden finishes out his term and pray we win in 2022. And then we can worry about 2024.
What I'm hoping for.
So next we have on the docket here is Dave Chappelle released a new Netflix comedy special. And it's a hit, man. It's killing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. It makes people think. It's, very offensive to everybody around. And for that reason, mainstream media journalists are outraged and think it should be shut down and taken off of Netflix, as well as some Netflix employees and engineers. Why? Because Joe Biden attacks the protected class of people, the alphabet community, whatever it might be, going into, rape and everything else. And at some points, being real about it. At some points, I don't always agree with everything he says. He's still Dave Chappelle, but he says whatever he feels, and it's funny, and he makes hits out of it. And the people that have the biggest problem with it don't seem to be coming from our side. It never usually is. We don't ever try to have somebody forcibly shut something down when we don't agree with it. However, I can't say the same on the opposite side here. So, Chris, you've actually seen this, right?
Yeah, I watched it last night. Hilarious. I enjoyed it. It was very funny. I saw the news headlines about, and he actually recorded this in Detroit, so had to be proud about that. But it is funny. It was a funny special. Very much enjoyed it. I'm not going to spoil it, so all of you guys can go watch it. Definitely would recommend. But they keep trying. They keep trying to come for Dave Chappelle. It's like they're sixth time in the last 3 years to cancel him. And it's continuously the transgender community. One thing, and this is the only thing I'll spoil in the special. He says, he's like, I'm trying to not butcher it, but it was basically he's like, gay people, lesbians. He's like, they're okay with me. We're cool. He was like, but transgenders, they hate me. And he said it with, explicit language. He's like, they want to kill me, which is not wrong. The transgender community is very, whatever you want to call, extreme. And I have no, I'm not some person who's like, you shouldn't be able to do that or whatever, go to the bathroom, wherever. I don't care. Not my business. That's how I see it. But I've spoken to people who are transgender or whatever they are. I have no idea. I'm wearing weird clothes. And they're like, you're a transphobe because I said I think it's a legitimate question to say, should a transgender woman be able to play in women's sports? And they're like, that question, I didn't even give an answer. They said that question is transphobic. And I was like, all right, you guys are too extreme. You ain't going nowhere. Your community is just toxic.
If you can't ask questions, then screw you.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you guys just don't want to. They're just like, you're transphobic and just remain transphobic. And I'm glad you're proud you're transphobic. I was like, if that's transphobic, y'all ain't going nowhere.
No, no. As far as they say, there's transphobic comments is that I don't care about things that aren't real. It's not reality. It's a mental illness. We've said this is mental illness for years. By playing this off and giving people legitimacy here, it does nothing but make it worse. We see that pre-op and post-op, the suicide rate is still the same. And let's just keep entertaining it. And that's what you get. These people can't do anything. So what? You punch back, and now, how could they? How could they? I don't know. You guys wouldn't stop being such a bunch of babies all the time, not being able to handle questions or just handle reality, the real world. It's a really cold and mean, nasty place. For those of you in college, it's a really mean and nasty place. It's a real thing. They don't care about it. People generally don't care about it. Okay, they don't care. We're trying to put on this facade, especially the U.S. government, that we're going to do all these things to include all these people and do all these things. Nah, man, you're going to get left on the corner and on the curb here. All right, reality check. They don't care. Your opinions aren't worth that much. That's another thing people don't understand. That your opinions aren't worth that much. They're not. They're really not. Like, oh, I think it should. You go ahead and get a new hire job and think you're going to go tell the CEO what he should do or shouldn't do. You're going to find your butt on the curb because they're going to replace you instantly. I don't want people get off thinking that this is just how the world works here. Well, my feelings need to be validated. No, they don't. And they won't be. So stop trying to make it happen. And Dave Chappelle killed a comedy special, made millions of dollars while he's laughing and getting rich while you guys keep tuning in and getting mad. Who's a fool? Who's the fool? I'm just saying.
The best part of his special is that, he really does have a great message at the end. And again, I don't want to spoil it, but I will say it was very much a unifying message. So definitely watch it. Maybe we'll come back in the next episode and we can kind of talk about once everyone has seen it. But it was a great message, and it comes no place from hate. He was like, this, I have nothing against transgenders. Like, I don't hate anybody. And it just, I thought was a great special the way he closed it out. So make sure you go watch it and see exactly what is making these people upset. Because if you look at what makes certain people upset and what triggers them, you're going to realize, wow, you actually are just crazy. If that makes you upset, if that joke makes you upset, then you are actually just legitimately crazy. And this is coming, they try and act like, and the transgender community does this a lot, they try to go hand in hand with blackness and black struggle because they want to kind of piggyback on that social movement and the struggles of Black Americans. And then as soon as Black people are like, I don't agree with that, and then they're like, you guys are evil, colonial Nazis, right-wing extremists.
It's always Black men too, especially. That's who gets worse. This is Black men every single time. Like, straight Black men are the white people of Black people. Why? Because over 20% of straight Black men voted for Donald Trump this last election. Oh my gosh. They actually, they did. It happened. It's real. Because not everybody's down with that nonsense. I don't know how hard it is for people you can't force people to accept crap that they don't want to. Same thing with our foreign policy. You can't force people to accept Western ideology and Western civilization if they want it. If they want Sharia law, they're going to practice Sharia law if they want it. You can't go ahead and force people. I'm going to go do it. You can't shove the alphabet soup down people's throat that don't want that nonsense.
Yeah.
Especially when it keeps getting press with Black people every single day in media, movies, putting dudes in dresses every single day. You can't make it happen. You can't just.
It's funny you mentioned that, Christian. It's funny you mentioned that. All across America, us Students for Life employees, we crashed women's marches and women's rallies because they were rebranded for abortion justice, right? And my specific one here in Jackson was done in conjunction with a group called Capital City Pride. And apparently the entire weekend, and this was last weekend, the entire weekend, you had a bunch of trans people, a bunch of people in drag, just out there celebrating or whatnot in downtown Jackson. They did the rally. They did a small march, which they could have gotten hit because it was like a 10-lane highway they tried to march on. And honestly, they could have gotten run over. But there was a security guard. There was a Black security guard that was there. And he was like, hey, they just called me. I'm here to make $1. But I don't agree with this mess. God is gonna wipe the floor with us. And they are big men with arms this big up in dresses. He was not only shocked, he was disgusted at it. He said most of the police out there were disgusted at it, whether they were Black or white. It was terrible. And then, they bring kids to these events. You know how many kids I saw?
Were there people exposed? Their bodies exposed? Or their people's body exposed to those marches?
Now, thankfully, no, because they know if they did that in Jackson, Mississippi,
but were they wearing
it would have went crazy?
Were dudes in like banana hammocks and thongs and stuff like that?
No, you didn't see that. You saw dresses, but you didn't see full out.
That's the thing. That's usually the status quo when you go to these events. And you see
it is Mississippi, so
and they have phallic ice cream cones and things like that, and there's kids there. As a parent, that's
It's
just
a big problem.
disgusting. That's disgusting.
bad.
It's like,
Yeah.
come on, that's not. You have left the realm of you're looking for rights, and you're just having an orgy on the streets at this point. You're just trying to be sexually explicit on the streets in public. Keep your kinks. Like, pride should be pride. Be prideful and that you are who you are. That's cool. I don't care about that, but keep your kinks in your bedroom. Like, there are people walking around with their partner in a collar and they're like crawling around. Like, what kind of disgusting thing? Like, come on now. Like,
I think it's violence.
I
think it's violence.
Politically motivated. It's disgusting. That's
I
what
think
it's not about being accepted anymore. It's not about rights anymore. It's all about a political motivation and about shoving it down people's throats, exposing the youth to it, corrupting their minds, and ruining innocence. And it's absolutely disgusting.
Exactly. I mean, so many kids with gay flags, and then they're all chanting. Their parents or grandparents. Yes, there were a lot of old people at this thing, chanting, "Oh, Jesus loves queers." I'm like, yes, he does. But guess what? He doesn't love what you do. He'll still send you to, well, we always say in Pentecostal church, you send yourself to hell. Jesus doesn't send you, your actions sends you to hell. But yeah, Jesus doesn't love your sin, but he loves you. We were like, yeah. But they were like, we want health care. Oh, we want our rights. We want gay rights. We want abortion rights.
Rights for what though? Like, what rights do gay people not
what
have?
What can they do that other people can't? That's the one thing. It's the craziest thing. It's like women. Oh, we want to fight for our rights. What's something women can't do that men can? Shoot, women can go in the draft now, which I think is absolutely wrong. But you can go in the draft now.
Oh no, you're cannon fodder right next to me. If I got to sign up for this draft, you're signing up for the draft, and I want retroactive signups. If you're under the age, you better be signing up too, because if I can get drafted, everyone's getting drafted. I don't care.
No, you know what? No, I think we should get rid of the draft. I'm with Thomas Massey on it.
I can do that. It's either everyone or no one.
Yeah. What I say on the one, I say on the all.
No, it's where we're at here is what rights have we lost? Oh no, it's all about killing babies. I'm sorry, it's all about killing babies. That's what the march is for. It's for killing babies. Okay, that's no more nuances, no much choice, freedom. No. It's about killing babies. They want to have the right to kill a baby whenever they want to kill a baby, up to 9 months when it's about to pop out their stomach. They want to kill babies, and we need to stop sugarcoating it. Stop letting it go play off. They didn't know. They want to kill babies. There's some very possessed people, some demonic actions happening out there. Some people don't know what's going on. It's unfortunate. We can maybe hopefully change their minds. There's some people that are straight evil. They know exactly what's going on, and they still want to keep doing it. And there's no change in their minds.
Anytime you're calling life within yourself a parasite, and that means you're, number one, you're directly challenging God and his vision for how we reproduce. So therefore, I'm gonna go as far as you're blaspheming, and folks, I'm gonna say this, and this is not just an opinion. This is in the Bible. If you blaspheme God, that's an unforgivable sin. So watch out. Be careful.
Yeah, I think this is a good spot to wrap it up here.
Yeah,
Chris, what do you got for your final thoughts?
Going to hell in a handbasket? I don't know. It's this is difficult times, guys. Difficult times.
Yeah.
I really try to stay optimistic. I think we're all doing great work. We're all in activism. We all do work every day trying to make a difference in the country. And I see it. I see it in small ways. I have students who are like, like for instance, I hosted Charlie Kirk this week. That was great. And just afterwards, I had students that were like, Chris, thank you so much for like putting this on. And I'm like, hey, you guys did it. You guys showed up. You guys showed out. You guys put the work in. Thank you. But just those small differences, that's where I really am seeing change. But it makes you lose hope when you look at it nationally and you're like, I don't see good options on either side. And I'm an independent. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. But when I look at either side, I'm like, they're both terrible. They're both awful. The GOP is awful. They're just slightly less awful. And the Democrats are just terrible and awful. And I just don't know where sane Americans, and I think the three of us, we don't agree on everything, but like we all can, I think, agree that the GOP is terrible. They aren't doing what they need to be doing. They're not fighting hard enough. They're not doing the things they need to be doing. They're spineless and they're weak. And it just leaves you a little bit hopeless. So I'm hoping that the activism that we do and all of our coworkers do and other organizations like us really do make a difference, because I think young, right-leaning conservatives, libertarians are going to be the future of the right movement. I think that's where we're going to be at, rather than like these 75-year-old boomers in Congress that are on their way out. Thankfully, I don't wish death upon anyone, but I wish they're going to be out of Congress. So those are my final thoughts. I hope, guys, that the work that we do is lead into a better place for the country.
Omar, go ahead.
My final thoughts are, folks, this is the time where you need to pick a side. It's not time to be lukewarm. I mean, the Bible says basically you got to be hot or cold. You can't serve two masters. It's time to decide whose side are you on. Are you going to be on the side of righteousness? And just because you're on the side of righteousness does not mean you have to be mean with it, or you have to be spiteful, or you have to be judgmental. You know, being on the side of righteousness means you're right with God, but you need to also be, and I know I'm getting religious here, but you need to be right with God, but not judgmental and not spiteful. You need to converse with your fellow man. You need to try to change your mind, but with love and with kind, and that shows by example. We need to be the example out here. And us three, we are the example in the movements that we're in, with you all being in the general conservative movement, with me being in the pro-life movement. You know, we're being the example out here, and we're fighting the good fight. And also, I am finally in my mid-20s, so woohoo! I'm glad about that.
Yeah, we had a birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday, man.
Birthday yesterday, man.
Thanks, y'all. So I'm grateful and I'm blessed to see another year. Grateful to be with y'all, the friendship that we have. So yeah, those are my final thoughts.
Boys Leadership Summit 2.0.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make that happen.
Exactly. Yeah,
we're gonna make that happen. But man, my final thoughts here. The little things matter. The big things matter. Showing up to school board meetings because they're not treating your kids in your district right, even if you don't have kids that are going to school. If you're not a parent, it does matter. Your voice has to be heard. Don't let the Biden administration scare you with the idea of weaponizing the FBI against parents, calling them domestic terrorists. And that's just because people are getting scared that they are actually losing that battle on all fronts in regards to local governments, local school boards, and that people are actually making a change here, making a difference. It always only seems to happen when we start winning or something good starts happening. So stay in the fight here. These things matter. Stand up for yourself. Mandates, unlawful mandates, don't stand for it. Have those meaningful, heartfelt conversations. We need to stop shying away from the political conversations around people and just start opening up. Let them hear it. They got to hear it. You got to throw some salt. You got to open up the wound. You got to get air on it. People might not want to hear it, but it's probably going to be what they need to hear. The reality here is that apparently there was 81 million votes here for this guy up in the office here. And a lot of people are disapproving of it here. That's on them for doing so. But it's also, they might turn around and do the same thing again, in 3 years. So if you don't want that to happen, I think it's meaningful to have those conversations. Talk to your friends, talk to family, talk to everybody. This is what it's about. And also here, Omar's no longer single, y'all. So stop hitting him up in the DMs. I know they'd be blowing up, but you gotta let the man alone. Leave it alone. So he's taking, but glad to be back. Sorry for the little hiatus. We'll be doing this quite more often, and we're looking forward to the next one. So y'all have a great rest of your evening, and we'll talk to you later.
See ya.